Thank you for joining us for this episode of Voice Boys. Just a quick shout out to Blake Foster for providing the music for our intro and outro music. And this episode is brought to you by Chaos Kitty Alarms. Who needs an alarm when you can get a kitten that attacks your face at 4 o'clock in the morning so you'll never get a good night's sleep again? Chaos Kitty Alarms. So cute you can't help but love them.
Let me feel your flame. Hope you feel the same. Let's get into this game. Get inside and warm your bones before it rains. My mind is on the run again. My mind is on the run again.
Recording has begun.
It has started. And we have returned to the recording.
Finally back.
Yes.
Again.
It was a rough winter.
the last 4 weeks.
Yeah, it was a rough winter. February especially was just like, hey, you know that mental health thing that you're supposed to have? Yeah, it's gonna go away. It's gonna hibernate for a little while.
That's about how it went. Yeah.
Yeah.
Life decided to throw everything my way. I'm sure everything your way too.
Yeah.
And we did the thing. We did the damn thing.
It was kind of like the weather was very weathering. Like just super cold. It rained, it snowed, it was wet, like it was just gross outside. So very cabin fevery and mental health kind of tanked.
But we weathered the weather.
We weathered the weather, and now it's starting to feel great outside. It's 62 degrees outside right now.
Well, I'm in Arkansas, and it's still trying to be a little bit of a bitch.
Wow.
It is teasing us though right now. They're like, here you go. Here's your little dangle you a little warm day. This is a nice cozy day. What a perfectly warm day. And the next day it's 30-mile-an-hour freezing winds. It's you walk outside in the tank top thinking it's gonna feel like it did last night, and it doesn't.
It's like, well, at least now the days are going to be longer, so that's possible. Yeah.
Oh yeah, good. Thank goodness for daylight savings.
More sun. We should just keep it this time. Like, don't do the fall back thing. Just
wasn't that initially, wasn't that the plan? I thought that we were supposed to do that a few years ago. I thought we were eliminating daylight savings. Am I just making that up? Did I dream that?
That's been a conversation for a long time, I feel like. I know Arizona doesn't do it anymore, but there's a couple other places that don't. So
is Arizona like further behind us right now than usual?
I think they are always like this time, right? Whatever this time is for them.
Okay.
I think so. I don't know the intricacies of Arizona because it's Arizona. I just know that they don't do daylight savings, which is kind of cool. We should adopt that policy.
Yeah, because it takes me 4 to 8 months to adapt to the new standard, the new daylight savings, and by that time, it's daylight savings again.
It's that routine adjustment, right? Like having to adjust to new things and having to adjust to just like everything. So every single time the time changes, it's like, oh, routine has changed. Gonna have to be more conscious of time and awareness.
I woke up this morning and I was, I think I told you earlier, I was so disappointed in myself because I was like, it's almost 10 o'clock and I'm so used to waking up on the weekends, which this sucks, but even on the weekends around 8,
Yeah.
So I felt like I wasted my morning comparatively to like what my morning normally is. And then I was like, there's no way. and I looked it up, and it was daylight savings last night. So
Yeah, and like that feeling of wasting your day when you wake up too late is the worst feeling, right? Like I feel that often. This is why I'm a night owl and also an early bird because I can't go to sleep until midnight at least. But I don't like waking up past like 9 o'clock.
yeah. Oh, I'm very much the same way. And
Yeah.
it sucks that I'm on a new routine where I wake up throughout the week around 6:30 in the morning, and that gives me time to like get ready and then start working for the day. Um, because the late night part of me has not taken a back seat to
Yeah.
that, you know. So really what happened is I just am getting less sleep, even less sleep than I originally was. So wonderful.
Yeah, it's not a great experience to be both a night owl and early bird. It really isn't. So because yeah, when you get into situations where you have to wake up earlier, you just get less sleep. You don't adjust your sleep. You just get less. Because I've been there. I've been in place like jobs that where I had to wake up at like 4:30 in the morning or something like that. It's like, oh, I'm just gonna be always tired
Yep.
more than I am already. So
It's the struggle of like the idea that you have to compromise the time for yourself. And
mhm.
it's a bit of like we play a little bit of revenge almost on the day that has been given to whatever else we were committed to or whatever else we had to do. Like we're playing revenge by like getting our time back at night,
Yeah,
and
it's
we're
the.
really destroying ourselves in the process. So
I mean, that is a very big thing that ADHDers struggle with is revenge bedtime procrastination. There's an actual word for it.
I knew that
Um,
there was something. I
yeah,
knew that there was. I couldn't remember what it was called.
yeah, it's because we struggle with our own perception of time in general. That oftentimes we feel like we don't have enough time throughout the day, so we try to take control back by staying up later, by forcing ourselves to stay up later, so we feel like we have more time. So that's one reason why a lot of us are night owls. Another reason why a lot of us are night owls is because there's also a delayed circadian rhythm syndrome or something like that. There's like there's a couple words for it, but there's an actual thing that we off are very much tied to that delayed circadian rhythm. So it means we stay up later and tend to wake up later as well,
Mm,
or get going. There's a thing with like early morning, like when you first wake up, if you really struggle with speaking in the morning, and not just like don't talk to me before I have my coffee, but more of like literally it's like it's really difficult for you to have conversation in the morning, like when you first wake up. That's part of delayed circadian rhythm.
that's really interesting to me because I struggle with this thing that I didn't realize other people really struggled with. I thought it was just a quirky, weird little me thing for a long time until I saw people talking about it on TikTok, and I can't remember what it's called. But I think it has something to do with that as well. It's where like I will have moments throughout the day, sometimes not at all, but sometimes for like hours throughout the day where just I can't make sentences. It's like
Mhm.
my speech will be broken up, or I'll mix words together, and I will do it consistently. It won't be like just one here or there. I'm doing it a little bit right now. I feel like just trying to talk to you right now, but it will happen consistently for a little while, and then it will just stop. Then I'll be back to a normal speech pattern.
Yeah.
But I've always been like, this is a weird, quirky thing that I sometimes do, and my brain is just kind of goofy about it, you know?
No, that's literally called suppressed speech. And that can be tied to autism actually because we can get overwhelmed, we can get overstimulated, and we can go into what is called a shutdown, which is compared like not the same thing as a meltdown. Meltdowns tend to be a lot more external, a lot more explosive, sometimes violent in towards ourselves or like things like that, or we say things that we are not really in full control of. But shutdowns are typically a lot more internal. And there's a couple of reasons why we might shut down instead of meltdown, but just kind of get to the point, there's a thing called suppressed speech. And that's where we get so overwhelmed, overstimulated, or anything like that. And we're going into that shutdown to where our speech becomes suppressed, and it becomes really difficult for us to formulate sentences, to speak. And like we just need that time to regulate. So probably what's happening is that's happening, and then you're regulating yourself or doing, paying attention, and by the you regulate and you're able to kind of get back into it. So because I that happens to me too.
Oh, it's good. It's good to know that I'm not alone here.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
It's one of those things I never even realized because like the morning thing for me, the delayed circadian rhythm, like I would always just get so upset if anyone tried talking to me like first thing in the morning, like after I'll wake up, and like I can't like I'm trying to process their words that they're trying to tell me, and I'm getting frustrated because they're expecting like answers, and I'm struggling to speak, and like that's whenever I get really like mad or frustrated. Like I might snap at someone if they try to talk to me too early in the morning because I'm not processing, and that's also related to the delayed circadian rhythm, which can be like attributed to either autism, ADHD, or other things too. So it's not strictly a neurodivergent thing, but it is part of it.
wow, that is good to know. I think that I
Mhm.
have. I think that I struggle with those same issues. Better than the what is it? I don't know if this is the right term, but like the rotating circadian rhythm,
Mhm.
where it's
Yeah.
constantly, it's like a little bit, it lags a little bit every single day, and your fucking routine basically just works
Yeah.
around the clock.
I I've it's really hard to pinpoint exactly what my sleep issues are because they are so varied. I think the rotating is part of it, whether it be delayed or rotating or just insomnia or a mix of everything, because that will happen to me. And like I used to be really, really bad, and get like really depressed whenever that would happen because like I'd end up staying up until like 4 o'clock in the morning and not waking up until like 11 or something like that. And I would feel like my day's wasted and I couldn't do anything. And like that would get really depressed because it was just, it did not help the mental health. And then I started like really kind of like accepting, okay, this is just my bedtime now. Like this is just what it's going to be because I was always like ashamed of going to bed at so late because it was not normal, right? Like going to bed at 4 o'clock in the morning and waking up at 11, especially in the military household. Um, that was something that I really struggled with. So, and just like I don't like waking up late. And yeah, that was something I really struggled with for a while until I was like, okay, this is just how, excuse me, this is just how it is. Um, and this is going to be my bedtime for now until I can get it back on track somehow. So I try to stay within going to bed between like midnight and like 2 a.m. Like that's kind of like how I rotate now.
Mhm.
Sometimes it gets a little bit later, but if I can stay within midnight and 2, I'm usually pretty good.
I would say that that's about the same for me. I think midnight to one. If I stay up to two, I know that I'm going to have a bad time. Not saying that I don't stay up till
Yeah.
two, but I do try to actively push myself against it. Um, but still, there are those days where The anime is getting really, really good, you know.
Dude.
So,
Yeah. You find that new anime that you just stumble upon and you decide that you want to binge all of it in one sitting instead of consuming it,
it's
you
it's
know.
almost it's almost worse whenever it's a shorter series too,
Yeah.
because
So
it's like,
it's
oh, this
only
only has 12 episodes and it start with a start and a finish.
yeah.
Well, I only have 3 episodes left and it's 1 in the morning. Like,
Might
what?
as well. Yeah.
Might as well knock it out. That way I feel like I experienced the whole thing in one setting.
Gosh. Yeah. And then you feel bad because it's like uh you're like, well now what do I watch? Right? Because like
Yep.
that's my problem is like I'm always seeking new shows to watch because I just binge them. Um
Same.
Unless it's an hour episode show. I noticed that I'm okay if episodes for like a normal TV show are an hour long, I tend not to binge that as much.
That's Yeah, no, I'm the opposite. I'm gonna be honest. I honestly, if anything that what I've noticed is shows that have episodes that are like longer also tend to leave off on bigger cliffhangers
Hmm.
because each episode is almost like a small movie. So at
Yeah.
the end of that, they're like, it's setting you up for the next episode, the same way that any other series would, but usually it feels like it's bigger for those longer running episodes. And it just that shit gets me every time, every single time. If I
No,
have a cliffhanger, I'm like, I'm gonna watch the next movie right now.
I'm I think I've just like you can have no power over me. You have no power.
You have no power here.
Yes. It's like I get to decide if I watch the next episode, not you, cliffhanger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's not me. I'm not that strong.
Yeah. I used to be like that. And like I used to be like I have to finish an episode too. Right? Like if I start an episode, I have to finish it.
Yeah,
But now I'm just like 20 minutes in, 30 minutes in, I'm done eating or I feel like I've taken my break long enough. I'm like, all right, I'll watch it later. Like I'll stop it. I used to not be able to do that, but I don't know what changed in me that has allowed me to make that adjustment. But yeah, I've mastered that. Like I'll pause whatever I'm watching and come back to it and finish it later.
yeah. I've been really into oh Invincible.
Mm,
Have you watched any of that?
I've I'm on the third season.
Is the third season the newest season?
Yes, the third season is
Okay.
the newest one.
All right, then yeah. Same.
Yeah, so that's been really good. Um, Surprisingly, like I've been having to be like in the right mood for it. My taste in shows adjusts, and right now I'm on Severance. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that show.
I'm very familiar. I haven't
Okay.
started the new season of that yet, but
I'm
I'm very familiar with the series.
yeah, I'm been watching that. That's been my like show to watch right now, which is surprising because it's been like anime for a long time, and I still watch some anime series, but not a lot right now. I watch like Solo Leveling and Shangri-La Frontier.
Shangri-La is one that I need to go back and restart, I think,
Dude.
because it is one that I started late at night. It is one that I decided to fall asleep to, and then I woke up hours and hours later on like the second season or something, somewhere in there. But it was also one of those things where like I would sleep and I would wake up and like tune in for a little while. And then I fall back to sleep and wake up and tune in. I don't know if anyone else does this, but I do this kind of shit all the time. And so like I have like bits and pieces of the overall story like just in my brain, but I don't know how the hell to put them together. I don't know
Yeah.
how they mix and match.
But it's a
Um,
great anime. I'm surprised more people don't talk about it because like it's fantastic. Like the animation is just great. The story is good. It's a little goofy, it's fun. There's not like excessive fan service or anything like that. Like it's just a good show with fantastic like fights and animation and it's kind of
yeah,
goofy.
that's I respect an anime that can do well without a bunch of fan service. You know what I was
Yeah.
excited about this morning? This morning I actually got to recommend to someone Solo Leveling because they had never seen it, and
Oh, yes.
they're a big anime watcher. It was a friend of mine, and she was like, "I need something new to watch," and she was going through everything that she had watched recently, and I was like, "You haven't watched the new season of Solo Leveling?" And she was like, "Oh, I haven't watched that at all," and I was like,
Oh,
"Why not?
dude,
what's what's going on there?" And she was like, "I wasn't sure if it would be something that I like," and I know her very well,
Mhm.
and I was like, "I assure you." You are
Dude,
going to love it. And one of the first questions she asked was, "Is it like fan servicey?" And I was like, "Not in the least, almost."
not that I recall.
I can't
Yeah,
think of, you know,
there's nothing fan service about it unless you
yeah,
just like the just aura farming that Jinbu uh does.
yeah,
If you find that fan service, then yes.
sure, yeah.
He's very much an aura farmer, but you know what? Like we appreciate that. uh,
He's the only one that. Wow. Okay, no, that's a spoiler. I'm not gonna put any spoilers in here. Never mind.
but Jinyu, like, yeah, is definite like master aura farmer, and but that's why you watch. Like, I think that's why you watch it, and like I've watched it twice because, and this is saying a lot for me because I'm usually the type of person that will watch a series once and I'll be done with it and I won't ever touch it again unless I come back to it like 2 or 3 years later. Um, and I'll be like, oh, it's been a while since I've seen that. I don't really remember everything, so I'm gonna watch it again. Um, but when a show is good enough for me, that's like it still tickles the brain. I'll watch it more than once. And there's
Yeah,
very few shows out there that are like that for me. And Solo Leveling is one of them, not only because it's just a great show, but because I watching it in both sub and dub.
yeah. I need to go back.
Because
I actually haven't watched the dub. I've only seen clips of the dub.
oh,
And
dude,
everyone says that it's really good. And the same thing happened, whether you like it or not. Like the same thing happened with me with One Punch Man. I love the One Punch Man series. I think that it's hilarious.
oh,
It's hilarious in the sub and the dub, you know.
yep.
So I enjoyed. I watched that one back to back almost. I watched it sub, and the dub started releasing, and I immediately watched the dub, and I enjoyed
I
every moment of it.
it's really hard to like I don't like to compare between sub and dub because it's two different voice acting styles
Hmm.
and things like that. But I will have to say that like the dub of Solo Leveling is probably some of the best English voice acting on an anime that I have watched in a very long time. Because there's some really good English voice actors for anime out there.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, especially nowadays,
yeah, yeah.
it's gotten so much better.
Um, there was one character that was not good in the dub uh, that actually got a lot of backlash for. I don't want to spoil too much, but
I'm so curious though. I'm so
yeah,
curious.
it um what's his I don't remember his actual name. I remember his shadow name, Tusk.
Oh yeah,
The dub voice actor for Tusk when it, there was a lot of backlash because it was just bad.
yeah,
Like in I didn't want to think it was bad when I was watching the episode. I was like, this is not great. Like I was listening to it and I was like, ooh, this is this is not good. Like,
What particularly was bad about it?
they hired someone that was not a voice actor.
Ah, it was that
Um,
obvious, huh?
yeah. Um, and the thing is, like, I know they hired. I don't know the person, but apparently they are very popular in like Hispanic community because they're Hispanic and they have. I think they were a singer. I should have been more informed before talking about this on who the person is, but I just saw like there was a lot of people that were not happy with the casting because he's not a voice actor and he just did not do a good job at voicing this character. So like that's the only thing I know about him is they hired him for this because he's a celebrity that I'm not aware of, and then he just didn't do a good job. And I think it was because people were like, "Oh, they just hired a celebrity to like use the name to
Yeah.
get people interested in it." And like when you have this amazing dub cast already that's like doing amazing things, like
Yeah. Why would
that
you
was
do that?
that's a
Like,
choice,
yeah.
you know. And so yeah, that was the only thing that I would have about that casting is he just and I was listening to the episode. I was like, "Ooh, this is not a good voice actor." And like, come to find out, he actually wasn't a voice actor. They just hired a person that had a name. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Um, but the otherwise, the entire cast is phenomenal. Like,
Yeah.
it's just
That's what I've heard. And from the clips that I've seen, it all looks awesome.
and just
Um,
the community engagement too is amazing.
yeah. That brings me to a question. Like in particular, how do you feel about like people in voice acting roles that aren't traditionally voice actors? Like even just other actors who aren't traditionally voice actors. How do you feel about that?
It's a mixed kind of feeling
I think, yeah,
because
same for me.
um you have the one hand where you have like the Chris Pratt that voices Mario in
What
the
an
anime.
odd fucking decision. Like
Yeah.
when I remember hearing about that and being like, that's not real.
Like
That's not who's really playing Mario.
and like watching the movie he did okay, but it didn't really like that's not Mario to
Yeah.
me, right? Like he did an okay voice acting performance because I think, he's an actor, so he knows at least how to use his voice.
Hmm.
You know, but I don't think he played that role well. But the other hand is you have Jack Black playing Bowser.
Holy shit.
Right?
Perfect for that role.
Yeah,
That was so good.
like same movie, two actors that are not traditionally voice actors, um, playing two different roles, and one is okay, and the other one was like okay, yeah, like to choose a name to play this role, he did a great job for Bowser. Could a voice actor do a better job?
Probably.
Probably, yeah. Someone that is a traditional voice actor, but I think there are just certain actors out there that do a really good job that I'm like, okay, I can respect the choice,
Well,
right?
there is an element of that, like the fact that Jack Black also in his acting style in general is very based around his voice.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's how he's always been in all of
Yeah.
his roles. So I could see how going to someone like Jack Black for a voice acting role would be a very easy decision to make because
Yeah.
of something like that.
Um
Chris Pratt, on the other hand, like who the fuck in the studio was sitting there and just thought, who would be a great Mario? you know, like
yeah.
how does that happen?
Yeah. Um and that's the thing too is like you just like, that's a choice. That's a choice. Um, and I'm thinking about like Studio Ghibli or Ghibli, however you want to say it.
Hmm.
Um, Typically the dub cast is usually actors. They
Big
don't.
big ones too.
Yeah,
They usually get a pretty stacked stacked cast for the dubs.
yeah, like Christian Bale.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, so the last Miyazaki film, The Boy and the Heron. So it was like Christian Bale, Dave Bautista, William Dafoe, Mark Hamill, Robert Pattinson, Florence Pugh, right? Like big names.
Mark Hamill is a voice actor though.
Yes.
We can argue that for sure.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
100%. Um, Robert Pattinson put his full Patterson in that. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, like playing the Heron. um, I think he did a good job. I watched the movie, and Christian Bale, he was also in Howl's Moving Castle, so like he's
Hmm.
done voice acting roles, especially in Miyazaki films, more than once. So yeah, like it's really interesting to see when they hire, movie actors to do voice acting because it is a different art, it's a different style of acting, and sometimes you get people like Mark Hamill, um, and they do a great job. Other times you get Chris Pratt. you know,
And
uh,
that's fine.
yeah, and like I get it, like I get why they do it, but it's frustrating because to me, what it says is that voice actors are not a respectable medium, right? Like as Hollywood or movie actors are,
Yeah.
and that's really frustrating to me because animation already struggles as a form of media, especially in the Hollywood scene. Like it is getting better, especially with the like last year's Oscars with having a really good stacked nominations for like best animated movie. And the fact the hilarious part is the one animated movie that had zero voice acting in it, zero speaking, won. But I think
Which one was that?
that was Flow. Great movie though.
Oh,
Flow was fantastic, and it winning is just like highlighting the storytelling capabilities of animation in general. Um, so like I was really happy with that movie winning because I think it deserved that win. Um, but just seeing all the different nominations in uh, that category, and it seems like animation is starting to slowly get more respect in a broader audience, and that's good because we need that. I just hope that extends into voice acting for voice actors to have more opportunities to be in these like bigger productions of animation.
yeah. I brought up the subject originally because I was talking about Invincible earlier, and I don't know if you looked at the cast list for Invincible, it
Oh yeah,
is tremendous,
yeah,
and it is like it's hard to know how I feel about it, but there are, you know, just looking at the cast list, but
yeah.
I mean, Stephen Yoon does a great job. Mark Hamill, of course, incredible. J.K. Simmons,
I think he's another voice actor.
I
That's
think, yeah,
also a
he deserves to have that voice actor title
yeah,
100%. And then you have people like Kevin Michael Richardson. He is a voice actor. He's fucking awesome.
yeah,
Um, and you have like John Hamm, and I love Walton Goggins. I think Walton Goggins is amazing in everything he's in. Um, Clancy Brown. The only thing I could think of is Mr. Krabs whenever I see his name, you know.
yeah, yeah.
But he's also like, you know how long it took me to realize that Clancy Brown in oh, what was he in? Like I would see him acting and I'd be like, man, he seems so familiar. and it was because he was Mr. Krabs the whole time to me, you know.
Yes.
I did
Yeah.
not know that they were the same entity. Like I had no idea for the longest time.
But that's like the beauty of voice actors, right? Is like just the range and skill that voice actors can like produce with their voice, and you just don't even realize that the character and the person are the same. You know, like not even realizing for the longest time that um both Ash Ketchum and Bart Simpson were voiced by women.
Yeah, I remember being a kid finding that out and being like,
Yeah. Yeah, I was like,
"What?"
"What? Like that's amazing." Right? Like that's fantastic. That's really cool.
Having the
Uh
same reaction to finding out subbed Goku was voiced
like
by a woman.
yeah.
You know, I was like,
Yeah.
"Wow, that's crazy." But then it
So,
also makes sense whenever you think about it. You know,
yeah, it's just really cool to like see those things that happen and like that shows like the talent that people can produce with their voices. And that's why I think that like voice actors should have a bigger opportunity for these like larger productions. You know, I really like seeing like Invincible has some big names in it, yes, but they also have some people that are also just like voice actors. You know,
yeah,
having that good mix is always nice because I understand that the you want the weight of a name
yeah.
attached to a project, but I don't know, maybe find the weight of the name um, that is actually going to be skillful in doing that. Um, yeah.
The idea of you know, Seth Rogen bringing people to your medium, you know, is kind of silly, you know.
Yeah, but it is what it is, and I think hopefully the art form of animation gets more love
I
because it
think that
deserves
we
it.
I think that we are getting more love, and we're slowly it's getting better and better for sure.
Yeah, I
Still
think
not where we want it to be, but
no. I just I still think there's a lot of old heads right in the Hollywood sphere that don't appreciate animation as much as film, right? Because there's film is a great medium too. It's a great storytelling. There's a lot of skill involved in being a film actor, you know, but there's still a lot of skill involved in being a voice actor, just being able to invoke emotion with only your voice, you know. And yeah, that's two different mediums and art forms that deserve respect for what they are. And yeah, I think it's just important to kind of preserve animation. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Especially beyond like Disney. Yeah.
No kidding. I say as I'm sitting here with Disney on my TV right now, but that's
Yeah.
for Marvel. I'm watching Marvel stuff right now. So
Yeah. 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 Like, especially now that anime, like Japanese animation, is becoming a little bit more mainstream, a lot of bit more mainstream,
man, I was
especially,
about to say, think about it. Think about it from the time that we were kids and we were
dude.
getting into it, and we were the weird ones for being
Yeah.
into it. You know, you watched anime and you didn't tell anyone that you watched anime because
Yeah.
nobody wanted to hang out with the people who watched anime.
Yeah.
Um, and now I don't know. I don't know a single young person who doesn't almost. You're
Which is
almost the weird ones if you don't. you know.
I think there's a little bit of stigma still with it, but I think, yeah, it is a lot more normalized
In
around it.
comparison, for sure,
Yeah.
from when we were kids.
I think it's now getting into the, oh, you don't watch this one, then you're weird.
Yeah.
Right? Um, or which anime do you watch? Like they judge you based off of the anime instead of just anime in general?
Yeah. When I was real young and I was first getting into it, I luckily, like, my dad would watch some of it with me, and that helped me feel a little more like, I don't know, like a little more cool about it, a little more confident in it, because my dad was a big fan of shows like Vampire Hunter D, or he
Oh,
would watch like a lot of the
great.
movies he was
Yeah.
really into. Um, I remember Vampire Hunter D was a big one for him though. He loved that
Yeah.
movie.
Great
Uh,
movies.
yeah, and so I would like start getting into an anime, especially like, something on Toonami at the time, just whatever we had access to. And he would watch some of it with me, and it made me feel like confident about being into this medium.
Yeah, I was just the weird kid that watched Toonami. Uh, my very first anime that I remember watching was Robotech, which is not one that a lot of people know.
That's one of my very first. I don't
Yeah.
know what my very first is, but I bet that it might be Robotech also.
Yeah. Because a lot of people think like Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball Z when it comes to Toonami, but Robotech was on there first. And Robotech is just three animes in a trench coat.
Yeah. I remember you telling me about this, and I remember thinking back and being like, yeah,
Yeah. It
holy shit.
it was yeah, like they basically were like trying to compete against Gundam, and they were trying to like make it more appeasing for American audiences, and they took three different anime series and put it together under Robotech. And I'm looking up what that anime is now because I'm trying to remember. Super Dimension Fortress Macross. That was the name of the first. So it was like Super Dimension Fortress Macross, Super Dimension Cavalry Southern Cross, and Genesis Climber Mospedia were the three anime that they're like, we'll just throw it together and call it Robotech. So there's that. But yeah. And then there was Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball Z. And then there was also Trinity Blood, which is another great anime.
Hmm.
Cowboy Bebop, Trigun, Outlaw Star, Witch Hunter Robin, Sayuki. Like those are all classics.
I remember watching a series exclusively on Toonami, and I haven't seen it since. I don't know if they continued the series, if it ever had an ending. Um, but I remember they never brought it back to Toonami, and it was this. I don't know how you say it, but it was S hyphen cry hyphen ed. Did you
Scried.
ever see that one?
Yeah, yeah, Scried.
Scried. That makes sense.
Hmm.
My friend, a friend of mine that I grew up with, said that it was pronounced sacred, and I was always very like confused by that. So, like, maybe he had more knowledge on the subject than I did, but now I realize he's literally the same age as me.
I
And
mean, I've always called it Scried. It's actually an anime I started watching again recently.
really,
Yeah, because I had that same experience of it was on TV and I don't think they finished it, or if they did, I missed it because I
yeah.
remember watching it and then I was like,
Then
and
suddenly it was gone,
it was
right?
gone, and I completely forgot the name of it too. And so like I had to hunt it down, and like I've done this several times since watching it on TV of like, oh, and I rediscover it, and I watched it all when I rediscovered it the first time, and then I completely forgot about it again. And then recently I was like, oh yeah, there's this anime that popped up, and so I found it again. I started watching it.
Yeah, I remember the concept being pretty cool, and I remember like liking. I remember being really into it, and then like suddenly it was gone, and I was like, "Well, what happens?
Yeah.
How does it end?" So, That's one that I is always kind of in the back of my mind, and I always think I need to go back and watch that. I need to find out how that ends.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
some of the old anime I do want to start going back and watching again. There's one that I can't find. It's Sayuki. Now, and that's the OG original Sayuki series. There are like two or three other Sayuki series, like they've done like reboots and stuff,
Mhm.
and they're just not as good as like the OG.
See, that's how I feel about also the Tenchi Muyo series
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
there's a few different versions of that series, and I don't remember which version I watched as a child.
And it's wild that they even had it on TV.
It is because it is very much a fucking harem anime, is
Yeah,
what it is.
is that was like my first introduction to harem anime, and it was heavily edited. And
Still, also my first anime girl crush. Honestly, Ryoko, dude.
yes, Ryoko. Yes, yes.
She was
Oh
such a
man,
bad bitch. So
gosh.
hardcore.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Oh gosh, that was when it started.
That was it. All
The
started
it
after
awakened
school
things.
during an episode of Toonami. During Toonami, an episode
Like,
of Tenchi Muyo came on. There she was, the platinum-haired goddess.
and then you watch the unedited version.
I haven't watched the unedited version, so there's still like it's mine's very rainbows and unicorns,
Yeah.
so
Um,
I wouldn't know what to expect.
we should watch it. Yeah.
It's so funny.
Um,
Oh,
yeah. No, there's some great anime from like the olden days. I've listed off some, and there's some obscure ones that I remember. I say obscure, but they may not be. Like Black Cat is one.
I remember
Uh,
Black Cat.
Pumpkin Scissors. That
I don't
one's
know if
obscure.
I don't know about that one. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't think I've
that
ever heard of that one.
very few people have ever watched that one that I've met. Um, it was pretty cool though. I liked it. Uh,
My favorite thing about like these old anime is this is when dub was rough. This is
it
back.
was it was a yeah, it was a hit or miss, right?
Yeah,
Where you either had
even the
like
ones, even the series that were considered good, like a lot of the dub was still pretty bad.
well, like you had like your Cowboy Bebop, like that's a good dub, for
Oh
yeah,
man, yeah,
you know, Outlaw Star was pretty good.
yep.
Um, Trinity Blood, I'm not sure if you ever saw that one. The dub on that's pretty good. That was
Trinity Blood.
actually one of the first like real dub series that I really enjoyed watching. Outside of like Dragon Ball Z and Sailor Moon and stuff.
Yeah,
But like once I discovered sub, I was like, oh, like this is amazing. And then I hearing the dub of Trinity Blood was good. So yeah,
yeah. We'll have to go through some of those and play with some of those voice lines.
that would be
Maybe
fun.
we should redo some scenes from some of those old shows. That'd be fun.
Yeah, that would be fun. I
Um,
agree.
Speaking of like projects like that and everything, have you done anything, recorded anything, or just kind of played with anything in the last through the morbid, rough winter? You
Um, not as much as I would like to have.
hmm
I've been kind of remaking my samples,
hmm
so I've done that a little bit. And like I am doing some coaching actually in a couple of days. I did some coaching in February too. Um, and just kind of doing my thing, getting through the winter, getting back on track of the progress that I want to make. I did find a couple scenes that I would like to kind of like test my own skills at
hmm
and figure out like where I am in my own perspective. So yeah, like I haven't done a whole lot other than just kind of like the business end of voice
Yeah.
acting.
Hell yeah.
What about yourself?
I've been a little more playful with it. As you know, for those at home, I'm putting together a Lancer game for druids and a group of our friends, and I I've recorded like the teasers and stuff with that, and that was really fun because I got to play with a lot of sound additions and assets, um, and putting that in with my audio, and that was kind of a learning curve, just doing that for myself, and I don't know, that was really fun. So I did a couple of those. You're already aware of those. I did have a tryout and a back and forth for someone developing a video game,
Nice.
developing a PC game. Um, we were going back and forth. They wanted to hire me. I sent them a clip that I did a long time ago of this character that I made an introduction for named Mythorian Totternon. And it was for a series that I'm still supposed to be a part of, but I have no idea when that's happening. But they told me generally like what they were looking for, and I was like, I have a clip that is exactly that, and it was that character. And I sent them that clip, and they were like, "This is perfect. This is exactly what we want. What are your rates?"
Mm.
And I told them, I gave them the general rates. Like I told them, like
The
SAG-AFTRA.
yeah, so the
Yeah,
non-union
yeah.
GVAA rates or whatever.
hmm And that was where they called it. They were like, "Oh, well, they actually tried to like get me to come down, but the amount that they wanted me to come down for that was I wasn't going to do that, you know."
Yeah.
And that's one of those things where it's like I'm disappointed that because of that I don't get to do that, but I'm really proud that it happened. I'm proud that I could have gotten it, and I'm proud that I didn't sell myself short just for that.
Yeah, and I think that's a good kind of like learning opportunity, right? And understanding the industry and like working with different projects and how to approach those kinds of conversations, and recognizing the value of yourself and your skills, right? Like, which is something that we're notoriously bad at recognizing and like upholding.
Yeah.
At least myself, anyways. I want to like
No,
assume
no, no, no. I'm right there with you. I
you know,
think it did help that on my end it was going to be me doing all of it,
yeah,
and that included like the editing process and everything. And I'll just tell you what they came back with because it's not like I'm naming the company or anything. They were like, "We've been made offers like $25 for 175 words," and I was like, "Are
that's
they
really
editing everything for you?" Like,
that's really low, and like that's one of those things too where newer voice actors
would fall
may
into that.
may not understand that you can go to SAG-AFTRA and or you can just go Google, right? And you can go
Yeah. I think the
standard.
typical right now standard SAG-AFTRA is $175 an hour, and
Yeah,
that is not a high rate.
yeah, if you go to the standard voice acting rates on Google and you will find sovas.org, SOVAS.org, and it'll say GVAA non-union rates for voice actors. And it will list you all of the rates available for like TV broadcast, radio, digital, non-broadcast, e-learning, animation, video games, and it will tell you exactly what the standard rates are. So yeah, if that is something that you are interested in, it's a good place to at least have an idea of what rates should be. And there's not a it's not a bad thing to have to negotiate, and if like especially if it's a smaller company and they don't have the budget for it, right? Like it's
Yeah.
okay to go down a little bit if you feel comfortable with it, right? Like you can say no, which is great that you didn't just agree to being handed a role, because we get excited, like, oh, I want to do this role.
And I did. I did get excited and I wanted to do the role because I knew what the role was. It was the story narrator for the series,
Oh,
which is a pretty cool role,
yeah.
you know. Um, but I just, you know, it wasn't good for me. And that is what it is. But again, I'm proud of myself for that. I'm proud of myself for being able to have got the role. And I'm just proud of myself in general for that whole process. It was really cool. It was really fun.
Then that's part of the experience.
Hmm.
Um, but so always look at the GVAA rates
Yeah,
and get that based
good
in.
resource to have.
Hmm. But kind of circling back because you asked me if I was doing anything, and I don't know why I completely forgot about this. Um, but I actually did a video for a board game. Um, like I did it like it was like a review type. Also, just I made a fun little video for them, and I voice acted like I did
Is
so it,
this was this for the PAX one? The one that we
yeah.
did at PAX? Oh, that's
Hmm.
so cool.
So like they wanted me to do a video for them, and I was because I was struggling just creatively in general. Like it wasn't just with, like voice acting; it was just all my projects. Um, I made two videos for them. One was just like me doing a kind of like a standard review video. And then the other one, I got a lot more creative with it, and like I played a couple characters, and like I, did a couple shots, and I did like a voiceover the video, um, and I was like this goblin character, and it was fun. So,
Hell yeah.
um, but yeah, and I also like I've been inspired by your Lancer stuff, and I started writing something for my character. That
Oh, please share that.
I
That'd be
don't
great.
have. It's not a whole lot right now. Like it's very, very, very short.
Well,
Um,
I'll tell you, like I told everyone else, like if y'all want to do teasers for your
yeah,
characters, I'll help you with it or do it yourself. Like I'm all about that shit. I
yeah.
love it so much.
Like I have an idea of the direction I want to go with the character, but the words right now only are like the first part of it, and I was like, I just wrote, "The people love me. How could they not? I am everything they desire. Beautiful, powerful, talented, rich beyond measure. I fulfill their fantasies, and they dance in the palm of my hand."
Nice.
Yeah.
That is almost exactly how I envision your character to be. Also, just want to throw that out there. So that's perfect. I can't wait for that. I
Yeah.
hope that you
So
record something for that because that'll be so much fun.
yeah, that was the little bit that I have for him because I was just sitting in bed and it popped in my brain and I wrote it down real quick.
That's usually when I make like those teasers and stuff. Usually, what
Mm.
happens is it comes from a vocal stem. And
Mm.
could you tell that the vocal stem for the last one was "Breathe Lancer"?
Yeah.
Like that was for some reason
But
that that line
it's
just kept going in my head, and I was like, I'm going to record something out of that, and I'm
it's
going
so
to use
fun.
that for my storytelling. And so that's kind of where my brain goes when
Mhm.
I'm just recording something just off the cuff like that.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited for all the Lancer stuff. I think we should definitely like I don't know, we should just make an account for it and just like post our Lancer stuff. I don't know.
Oh, I'd be
Uh
down. I'd be down to record the audio for that. Yeah, that'd be
yeah.
that'd be so fun.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
We have so many talented people who are going to be in that game that
Yeah.
I almost feel like it would be criminal for me not to record them. Not saying that we'll do anything with them,
Hmm.
but I do really want to record them just in case it ends up being as good as I think that it's going to be.
That's a conversation we should have.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. I I think with that, um, what kind of things are you looking forward to? We can kind of like wrap up on this question of like, what kind of things are you looking forward to trying or doing or exploring in the near future?
So a lot of the things that I'm focused on now and that I'm getting more involved with is just the overall um addition of audio to my editing. The sound effects and like the ambient noises and the background effects. I didn't realize how much I would enjoy making those things and playing with like the different filters and like the high pass and everything to like give my voice these different effects in the audio. Um, I'm looking forward to learning way more about that stuff that I can, honestly, because I've enjoyed it so much, and I'm like, I could get good at this. I know that I can get good at this.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, you've been doing like great job with it so far, from what I've heard.
Thank
I've been
you.
really enjoying it. So, kind of makes me like, ooh, maybe I should start. Like, I've played with that like in the past, but I've never gotten to like a high skill level. So it'd be cool to do to play around with as well. Um, as for myself, I think I really am looking forward to like exploring the limits of my voice. I really, really want to challenge myself where I am currently and seeing like in what direction I can grow. Because yeah, I sent you the one scene that I wanted us to both try, and it's a tough scene,
Oh yeah,
and but I really, really want to try it and see like not in a say like can I do better, but more of where am I as a voice actor. And I think that's the really what I want to do is not like when I do redubbing things from like established shows or whatever, it's not the attempt to be better, but more of where am I currently as a voice actor and having that as a measurement of growth and understanding of like using my voice and like what things can I learn to be better.
yeah.
So
I think that's awesome.
yeah.
That's fantastic. You saying that makes me feel the same way about myself also. So I agree with that. I agree with what you're excited about for
Yeah.
myself as well.
Yeah.
So
I think it's just the general consensus of like the exploration of all the aspects of voice acting.
yeah,
Um, yeah, so I'm excited to try new things and explore and what can I do? Yeah.
yeah. I think that's important. I think that's really good. That's really good for me too. Hearing you say that because there are a lot of aspects of my voice acting where even in the stuff that I share in our groups and stuff, where I'll be like, that is something I did something in there that I'm cringing at. Like there's a sound in there that I make, or there's a way that I say a word in there that I'm like, "Ugh, I hated that. But nobody else addresses that. And that's something that I have to tell myself pretty consistently.
I think, you I've I have the confidence in my current skill, right? I think that's where we need to have that baseline is like my current skill I'm confident in. The things that I know I'm good at, I know I'm good at.
Yeah.
Is there room for improvement? Always. But it's like now where can I push myself? And I think when we're trying new things and exploring new things, we have to understand that, yeah, like we are going to say or do something with our voice in a new experimentation that when we listen back, we're going to be like, I don't really like that. But instead of being critical of ourselves, of like, oh, that was bad, but more of, what can I do to improve? Like, why don't I like that? Like, what could I have done instead?
Hmm.
Right? And try that and explore that and keeping that in our brain as we do these things, right? Instead of being like, oh, that's just terrible. You know, like
It's
it's,
so easy. It's so easy
yeah,
to go there, though. It's so easy
yeah,
to be like, "That's awful." Delete, and then
yep,
just be done with the project altogether.
yep,
There have been many a times where I'd listen back to something where I would do like a reading for like, when you sit and you do a reading or a recording, and it takes you 4 or 5 minutes. That's a long recording, and then
yeah,
you clean it up, you polish it, and you do everything that needs to be done, and then you listen to it, and in your brain you're like, this is fucking garbage, and you've just spent an hour on that 4 or 5 minute clip,
yeah,
and you hate it. And sometimes that's just you getting in your own head. you know um oh, I forgot where I was going with that, so I
yeah.
apologize.
No,
But
you're good. You're good. No, um, it's very easy to just get trapped in that negative self-talk.
that's
Um,
that's yeah, that's where I was going with that. Thank you.
yeah, yeah. So it's I I follow the two C's: be curious and be compassionate, right? So be compassionate towards yourself and be curious on how you can improve or how can you do things something different. Being curious of like what made me make that choice. What choices can I make differently? You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, no, this has been excellent and it
What
feels
a
good.
great what a great what a great comeback.
Yeah,
to come back, sit here, be like, we're gonna do this
yeah,
today, and we did it, and we did it for over an hour. What is this, an hour
yeah,
15 minutes right now, something like that?
yeah. We have good stuff too. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, amazing. Um, brain is at its end.
Yeah, no.
So the end of the line.
I
Anyways,
don't I don't
yeah,
feel sick anymore though, so that's good.
that's good. That's
So
good.
yeah, it
Yeah,
did it was fading as we were getting to the episode. I don't know if it was the excitement or the conversation or what, but it went away. So
both.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, this was fun, and we have some cool things coming up that I think we're gonna definitely try to be more consistent. The ADHD inconsistency. What is that? Got some new content that we want to try out of where we're gonna be redubbing different scenes from different things. So if you have a scene that you would like two men to do, or throw something at us, curveball, curveball us, Um, but yeah, if you would like us to hear us try something, feel free to send it our way. But yeah,
Don't be shy.
yeah.
We've done it all. Okay.
And if we haven't done it, we're willing.
Willing to try once,
Yes,
at least.
fun time. All right. With that, we shall see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Let me feel your flame. Hope you feel the same. Let's get into this game. Get inside and warm your bones.